back to the Football Review Show. In today's episode, we'll be looking at the London Challenge Cup draw, and we'll be looking at the first round of fixtures in the Barnet Sunday Football League. So we'll start off with the draw for the London Sunday Challenge Cup. And here it is. So we'll start off with M-Boys FC facing Mildeen. Mildeen, the current London Sunday Challenge Trophy winners, and they face M-Boys FC, who had a great run in the Challenge Cup last season. They knocked off Rising Ballers. They also beat Gower as well. So they had a pretty good tournament. They were actually unlucky. They lost to Kenilworth on penalties in the next round. So it was a very good run for them. That will be a very interesting game. We've got Swag from the Southern Sunday. They face the Wrong'uns from the Barnet League. Very challenging game for the Wrong'uns there. Obviously, they've been promoted to the Barnet Sunday Football League Premier Division. They were unbeaten last season in league action. But this is a step up in class, and it's going to be a very, very tough trip to South London for the Wrong'uns. Next game, Lambeth All Stars, winners from 2 seasons ago. They face El Valiente of the Essex Sunday Corinthian League. It will be a very challenging game for El Valiente. I'm not saying it will be a walkover, but because there's no walkovers in this competition, every team has got quality, and at the end of the day, if you have an off day in this cup, you're going to lose. Simple as. Next game, Southwest Rangers facing AFC Oakwood. AFC Oakwood, also of the Barnet Sunday League, also promoted to the Premier Division this season. Team for the young, hungry players, a few of them semi-pro as well. A team that's progressed year on year. They've moved from Division 3 to Division 1 to the Premier Division. So the progression has been there. They face Southwest Rangers, who are also from the Southern Sunday. So that will also be a tricky test for AFC Oakwood in their first year in the London Challenge Cup. Next up, SE Dons, who are probably around being one of the favourites, or are one of the favourites. They face United Dian, who I haven't heard much of. I just know their name, pretty much. That's bad research. But although there'll be no easy games in this London Sunday Challenge Cup, I don't think anyone would fancy going to face SE Dons, with the amount of talent they've got. Next up, Hatcham face BG Club. I believe they are from Essex. Hatcham obviously had a good run last season. They've lost a couple of players. But hopefully they have another good run in them in the London Challenge Cup and in the league as well. It'd be good for Hatcham to get another good run in the league. Westbourne United of the Barnet League face Rising Talents. Westbourne United, who were Roslot FC, they were Division 6 champions last season. Obviously in the Barnet League, Division 5 and 6 were for mainly new teams, especially last year. They were exclusively for new teams. So the quality was of a higher standard, a higher league than would typically be of a level 5 and 6 team. It'll be very interesting to see how Westbourne United get on. They've had a very tricky pre-season. They've had a lot of hard games, but they've actually came through it. They've actually done really well overall in them games. So it'll be very interesting to see how they get on in both the league and the Challenge Cup. It's their first season in the Challenge Cup, so it'll be very interesting to see how they get on. Park Life face Westminster Wanderers. FC Baller face Barnes Eagles. Rocker Seniors face Mehmetchik Galata. Mehmetchik Galata obviously did well in the London Sunday Challenge Trophy. They got a few very good results, and I think they only lost 1-0 in their game. I can't remember who they lost to, but I feel like they would have gone even further if they didn't lose that game. They've obviously moved over to the Barnet League from the Turkish League. but they have a very tricky game against Rocker Seniors. But for me, this is one of the games you've got to watch out for. I think this is going to be a very good game. Very good football game between Rocker Seniors and Mehmetçik Galata. That's one to look out for if you're looking to go to one of the games in the London Sunday Challenge Cup. Hatch Lane United of Essex Sunday Corinthian face Milan Beatties. Milan Beatties with the fairy tale run to the final. Obviously, you had that mad game against Continental. I think that's one of the maddest games you'll see. For me, I don't know how Continental didn't win that game. They had the man advantage and they had the goals advantage and still lost that game. So obviously, Milan Beatties, they got to the final, and I feel like, will they get back to that level, or was that their best chance of actually winning the London Sunday Cup? We'll see this year. Hopefully they do well again, because they are a great club, and they have a great system, great management, and, they've done great things in the Hackney League. And I think they're just propping up the Hackney League, to be honest. There's a few really good teams in Hackney League coming up, but over the years, it has been Milan Beatties who have been the mainstays of that, league. Moving on, Saha FC face Bayswater. Zaza FC face FC Korea. Zaza FC actually lost in the quarterfinals of the London Sunday Junior Cup last year. So it'll be very interesting to see how they transfer from Junior Cup football and Turkish League football to Barnet Sunday League Championship level football and the London Challenge Cup as well. It'll be very interesting to see how they get on in this match. Will they be able to handle that quality that presents itself in the London Challenge Cup? Clapham Rovers face Spartans. All Barnet League affair between Panda FC and the Bandits. This is another battle of two championship teams in the Barnet Sunday Football League. This is going to be very intriguing because I don't think these two teams have played at a consistent, level. This kind of consistent level. Obviously, the Bandits are in Div 5. You do play a select amount of teams, a wider range of teams. You play good teams, you play bad teams as well. And Panda FC, a prominent YouTube team, they're not playing high-level elite teams every week, They are playing very, very good teams, very good standard teams. But, this is a step up. This is competitive games. This ain't friendlies and stuff like that. So it'll be very interesting, very intriguing to see how these two teams get along. AFC Balham face Borden Sport. One of the ties to look out for me is Highgate Albion facing the Wall. The Wall promoted last season to the senior division of Orpington and Bromley. They face Highgate Albion, a team that sometimes doesn't get their flowers for me. And even I'll be the first to put it, because I know Adam will say something. He'll say, "Oh, you're not rating us." Just want to say, Adam, first of all, I'd love if you come on the show and do an interview. That'd be great. But I've always rated Highgate Albion, and I think they're one of the mainstays in this Challenge Cup draw. I think they can go a long way. I think they were very unlucky last year to lose out to Lambeth. And I think it was because I said Takers would beat them. I don't know, but they managed to get good results against Takers. So, and they won the double. So, they'll be very high on confidence, and they'll take on the Wall in the first round. You've got Farnborough Old Boys Guild facing FC Elmstead. I think that's an Orpington game. Sorry, I've suddenly mixed up my words. Gower Stars of the Barnet Sunday Football League face Jam. Toasty affair that will be. Spread that one out. That's awful puns. Jammer from Westphal. I think this will be a tricky game for Gal All Stars. They had a very bad season last season. They did. I think they finished third bottom in the end, but reality set in that they were playing at a high level. Even though they got to the London Cup final, I just felt like they didn't really kind of get grips with the Barnet League last season. And maybe, they'll find their feet and maybe they'll improve this season. But last season wasn't the one for them. And jam in the first round. Hopefully it's not a jam for them. Another team to look out for, Under the Radar FC, very promising team, a lot of good players, they face Golden Eagles in the first round. Under the Radar, a team that might actually, wait for the pun, slip under the radar in this draw. I think not a lot of teams would want to play them. I think they'll be a big out for teams, There'll be a tough out in this draw. Moving on, Catford Wanderers face Oakwood A. Trabzonspor UK of the Barnet Sunday League face a very experienced FC Bickley of Orpington and Bromley. This is also a really, really intriguing tie. I don't think FC Bickley would know much about Trabzonspor UK. I think Trabzonspor UK probably know a little bit or can find out a little bit more about Bickley. I think this is going to be a very good game. I think Trabzonspor UK are fantastically underrated. And I think they'll give Bickley a fantastic contest, especially at home as well. Especially at home, I think that will be a good game to watch out for. Kizillarmark of the Barnet Sunday Football League face a very tough game against Kenningwell United. Kenningwell seem to always lose players, but still be very good. Like, they've lost so much talent over the years and are still going strong as a club. And that's, for me, I don't know the people in charge of Kenningwell, but, they've got to be commended because they're doing a fantastic job keeping the ship afloat. Kumasi Strikers face AFC Oddfellows. Kumasi, I think, are another team that will give everyone a game. I think they'll do pretty well in this London Cup. I think they can knock off a few teams. Park Rolls of the Barnet Sunday Football League face Eastway Athletic. I believe they're from Essex Corinthian as well. Park Rolls are a very weird team. Like, when I see Park Rolls in a contest, they're never like smacking everyone, or they never get battered. Even when they face Rising Ballers, there's always tight game. Even when they face Highgate Albion, then they're always in games. They always play tight games, and I'd like to see them win a couple games in this. I think they're a very good, team, good bunch of lads, and I think Park Rolls are a team that, deserve a few wins in this cup. I mean, nothing's earned in this cup. You've got to work for it. But okay, so moving on, Grand Athletic, current champions, they face Olympia FC. I think they're of the Copa League. They're a very talented team as well. Grand Athletic kind of came from left field, but they deserve to win, the London Sunday Challenge Cup, I believe. And let's see how far they go this year. I think they were more of an unknown quantity last season. I think this season they'll be very much targeted. Once you've got that cup, you've got that mark on your back, and let's see how they get on. And a team who's had a very good pre-season, Beatty's squad. They face Ryfield Vipers in the first round. Beatty's obviously coming fresh off their win against SE Dons. They've also taught Highgate Albion a lesson I think it was 8-1. So they've had a very, very, very good pre-season. But at the end of the day, pre-season only counts for learning lessons and getting people acclimatized to formations and stuff like that, getting people a bit of confidence. At the end of the day, you can win all the pre-season games you want. You've got to win games competitively. And I think Beatty's squad will have a lot of confidence after that win against SC Dons. Well, I know they've got a lot of confidence. You saw it all over Twitter. For me, I think Beatty's squad are a team that could potentially go a long way in this tournament, or they could get knocked out in the first round. You know, that's kind of how it is with Beatty's squad. They're very unpredictable. On their day, they're up there with the best teams in London, I believe. So moving on, AFC Brixton face Sports King All-Stars. I think they're from Orpington and Bromley. I think they had a few players from Peckham Rye, who are obviously managed by my good mate Gibbs, obviously myself, brethren. Highgate and Muswell Hill face Heavy Hitters from the Barnet Sunday Football League. Heavy Hitters branched off. A lot of their players used to play for the Wrong Uns. So it'd be very interesting to see, for me, how the Wrong Uns and Heavy Hitters get on in this competition. I'd love to see them face each other down the road. Dunlippinar face Takers. Very challenging first round match for Takers. Dunlippinar, stalwarts of this Challenge Cup, always give a good game, to any team they play. They obviously won the London Cup a few years back. Takers, a team who have gone to South London. They've played Zaha. They've played Lambeth All-Stars as well, so they ain't afraid to take on the better teams in this competition. So moving on, AFC Hammersmith facing Navarino FC. We've also received, we're going to do some predictions for the Challenge Cup and also the Challenge Trophy. So obviously, for me, I think SC Dons will get to the final. I think they will face Lambeth All-Stars, I think, in the final. But to be honest, you could literally pick a name out of the hat. I think there's 8 to 10 or even more teams that could get to the final. I will list them off for you. Highgate Albion, I think they could get to the final. I think Beatty's squad could get to the final. I think a lot of the teams from, the Southern Sunday could cause upsets. I think Hammersmith Town, Olympia, Dunlippinar Takers, there's a lot of teams who could make the final for me. But I think either Lambeth or SC Dons will win the London Cup. And this is going to come back to haunt me because I know someone will go, oh, look, Alex said Takers or SC Dons were going to win it and they got knocked out in the first round. I don't care, to be honest, because I know the London Sunday Challenge Cup is littered full of quality, Like I said before, if you have an off day in the Challenge Cup, you're going to get knocked out. Simple as, because everyone's quality. Moving on to the Challenge Trophy, obviously, AFC Rose in the final against Sporting Continental. Obviously, we're going to win 1-0, Hugo own goal. I can't, man. That's a rip now, man. I love you, Hugo, man. Congrats on the new baby boy. Hope he's doing well. Hope your partner's doing well. Much love. I'm not going to make a prediction on that because I honestly don't know the kind of level we're playing against. I think it's going to be very high. I think the team we're playing against in the first round is a very good team, Hendon United. I don't know much about them. But I know they're in the Premier Division, and I know Premier Division sides usually have a lot of quality, and it's going to be a very challenging, fixture. And I think some of the games that have been littered out in Junior Cups and Challenge Trophies are a bit weird, but the guy who runs it, Jamal, he does a fantastic job. You can't really knock him at the end of the day when he has to put together draws with like hundreds of teams. So we're going to move on now. Premier Division, Barnet Sunday Football League. We're going to do predictions for games and leagues as well. So we're going to start off with the Premier Division. All Stars face Highgate Albion. Park Rolls face the Wrongans. Trabzonspor UK face Takers FC. And Atletico Cerezo face AFC Oakwood. 9 teams in the Premier Division this year. For me, standout teams, top 2 this season, Highgate Albion and Takers. Followed for me by Trabzonspor UK. AFC Oakwood will be up there. I don't know about the Romans this season. I don't know what has happened with their recruitment, what kind of players they've got. Obviously, a lot of their players left of the title-winning squad to join heavy hitters. So it'd be very interesting to see how they get on in their first season in the Premier Division. For me, I don't know who's going to come towards the bottom of the table. It could be Atletico Cerezo. They had a lot of players from Shentry Athletic who picked us, to the Division 2 title. We actually beat them twice last season. I think we were very unlucky not to win the title. Obviously, a lot of double headers, but at the end of the day, we didn't win the title. They did. So I think if they get quality in, they could make mid-table. If they don't, they'll probably finish bottom. No offence. Hornsey and Highgate, I think, will be towards the bottom of the table. All Stars as well. Nothing against them teams. I just don't think they're as good as the other teams in the division, even though I think they're pretty good teams. Moving on into the Championship, this is going to be a very hard division to call. Zaza FC face Panda FC. The Bandits face Mehmetçik Galata. Heavy Hitters face Westbourne United. And Alexandra Knights face Kızılırmak. For me, I would say Westbourne United, the Bandits, Mehmetçik Galata, Kızılırmak, I think are my top 4. I think Real Menza will struggle this season. I can see them, Zaza, maybe Alexandra Knights towards the bottom of the table. I know these will probably bite me in the bum moving further down the road, because this league is going to be very difficult. I can see an Alexandra Knights beating top teams in this division. They've had a very good pre-season, so I'm not counting them out. I just think it's going to be very tight, and I see them 4 teams, teams that actually have real experience of winning leagues and cups, and I can see them being the top 4 teams, even though I think it's a very even league. So moving on to Division 1, AC Finchley face London Wednesday, Gospel Oak face AFC Rose, United House face RS Town, Highgate Albion Seconds face Peckenspor, and Enfield United face Northumberland Park Rangers. Not going to make a prediction, because if I say FC Rose are going to win the league, I'll get slaughtered on Twitter, and probably Enfield United will probably cut and paste me saying AFC Rose are going to win the league. And I think we'll do all right. I'm going to put it there. I think we'll be pretty good. Will we win the league? Maybe. Will we get promoted? Maybe. I don't think we'll be, bottom half. I think we've got a very good team. We had a very good preseason, a lot of hungry players, a lot of players who want to win silverware. I feel like we were gutted. I was personally gutted that we did not win anything last season. Only 3 defeats, only 1 defeat in the league, losing 2 semi-finals hurt a lot. But hopefully it fuels the guys. And I know I've got a lot of trust and love for my teammates. And I know how, hard we've worked and stuff like this to get to this level, going from the Edmonton League and, with mismatched kits and, players turning up, late and playing with 9 men and, like that, and playing in muddy fields and all that shit to get to this level. I'm proud of the guys and I know we can go higher than this. So it'll be very interesting. And there's a lot of talent in this league. We ain't discrediting any team. We know how good every team can play. We know how good Enfield United are on their day. We know about AC Finchley. We know about the teams coming up from Division 5 and 6, London Wednesday and Gospel Oak. We know how good they are. We know about Highgate Albion Reserves. They've got a lot of talent. Even United House, Peckenspore and Northumberland Park are very experienced teams. So we're not going to take them lightly. And I know they ain't going to take us lightly because they know about our pedigree as well. They know about our runs in the cups and they know about our league form. So they ain't going to take us lightly. And I think they're going to give us the respect we deserve and earn, over the last couple of years. Moving on to Division 2, Mill Hill Club, the football, face Grange Park. Whetstone Wanderers under 23s face AFC Edmonton. AFC Oakwood Reserves face North London Athletic. And GTFA face Locomotive Thunder. This is a really tough league to call, because you've obviously got Whetstone Wanderers under 23s, at Oakwood Reserves and AFC Edmonton all coming up from 5 and 6. I think they were all in Division 6. I think Oakwood Reserves was second. Whetstone Wanderers under 23s, I think, were 3rd or 4th. And I think AFC Edmonton were about 5th or 6th. But obviously they've all moved up to Division 2. You've got Anatolians who have been in Division 2 for about the last 800 years. Also, you've got Trent Park moving back up to Division 2. Locomotive Thunder moved down to Division 1, down from Division 1. So it'll be interesting to see how they get on. If their experience in Division 1 will help them. But this is really tough to call. I don't actually see a team clearly running away with this division. I think it's just a very, very, even league. Moving on, Division 3, AFC Muswell Hill versus Shentry Athletic. Underdogs FC versus North London Colts. Roving Reporters face Continental. London Orient face Sopranos FC. And North London Wanderers face Whetstone Wanderers Old Boys. For me, if Continental get a decent team, because they were in the Premier Division last season, if they get a decent team, I don't know how depleted their team has got, but it must be fairly depleted for them to move from the Premier Division to Division 3, because in the original constitution, they were still in the Premier Division. So it'd be very interesting to see how their team has changed. If they get a half-decent team, they'll do well in this division. I think Continental, no offence to them, probably should have dropped out of the Premier Division this season. I think they came bottom. If AC Finchley moved down to Division 1, I think Continental definitely should have moved down to Division 1. And so they have dropped to Division 3. Maybe, is it too far down? Maybe they should have dropped to Division 2 or 1. But we don't know the extent towards their lack of players. Maybe they just can't, attract that caliber of player anymore. And That is why they've moved down to Division 3. So moving on, Division 4, Camden FC faced Barnet Salsa, NLR faced Maida Villa, Gower Phoenix faced Cricklewood, FC Cricklewood, Highgate Albion Thirds face Arness Rangers. Another division with a lot of teams that kind of, go under the radar. A lot of teams, you don't hear much about these teams. For me, I like Barnet Salsa here. I think Barnet Salsa are a very intriguing team. I've seen them a couple of times. They play pretty good football. They were pretty good in Div 4 last season. Camden FC have moved from Div 5. NLR won a cup last season, but their form in the league wasn't particularly great. Brotherhood, also Cosy FC, a very experienced team. They did all right last season, but there's a lot of teams that in this division, even into Mill Hill, I think they've dropped down from Division 2. When we played them last season, we gave them a bit of a shacking, bit of a shellacking, whatever you want to call it, a little bit of a battering, 2-3 goal wins. But I think maybe this will be more their level. And I think they were actually pretty talented. They just, it was a quality gap between the two teams. They were younger, more inexperienced, and, we had the quality and experience that they didn't have. So it'd be interesting to see how they got along. Moving on to Division 5 and 6, we won't make predictions on these leagues because they're all new teams or mostly new teams, and it will just be unfair on them for me to judge them when I don't really know anything about them. So Borelli faced Fireside FC in a toasty encounter. South Tottenham United faced Enfield 04. EC Galaxy faced Cockfosters under 23s. NLR Reserves faced Northwest Galacticos. And New Copper faced Tauflik. So all new teams apart from Borelli, who were in Div 5 last season. They did all right, I think they were mid-table, but obviously the league hasn't moved them up. They've moved them nowhere. They've moved nowhere. They're in Div 5 still, so obviously they haven't really got an improvement to their squad to move up to a higher division. Into Div 6, we've got Roving Reporters Reserves, Chef Shao and Berbers are facing each other. Armenian Youth Association facing AFC Muswell Hill seconds. We've got Enfield Albion facing Highgate Albion fourths, Cognac Athletic facing New Barnet, and Edmonton Rovers facing Northwest Wolves. Edmonton Rovers obviously moved down from Div 1. Enfield Albion have moved down from Div 3. You've had Colney Hatch and New Barnet move down from Div 4. So you've got teams who have experience in the Barnet Sunday Football League, but obviously want to drop down, to, enjoy their football a bit more. And maybe that's what they need. I like Edmonton Rovers rebuild here. I think going with a bunch of new players, obviously they've got experience in Leon Mackenzie Mackay, and obviously with Tony Mackay as the manager, I can see a bright future for Edmonton Rovers if they keep these players. Obviously they're very green. I've seen a lot of their friendly work, and they have had a few batterings, but that's to be expected. When you're playing, they were playing Enfield Town Academy, and Edmonton Rovers had players that were 18 and 19. They didn't have teams littered full of grown 23, 24, 25, 30-year-old men. They had 18-year-old boys who probably didn't have experience of adult football. So I didn't really expect them to do much against, guys who play week in, week out in academies and play very high level teams. You know, even Enfield Town, you know, probably play higher level academies in games, and so it's a very, very steep learning curve for these boys, and I'm really rooting for Edmonton Rovers. Obviously, they dropped down from Division 1, citing the fact that they were playing. The opposition was too talented, and you know it wasn't really fair for them. I hope they do well. I hope Enfield Albion do well. Apart from in the cup against us, you know, I hope they lose like 1-0. I'm joking. Hopefully we beat them. But that's the end of the show. If you like the content, it's me, so you probably didn't like the content. But if you got to this stage, please like, please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.